Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, no matter what time of day it is where you're at. We want to welcome you to this week's episode of the CVC Home Service Success Network. This is sponsored each and every week by CVC Success Group. And the reason we do this is to share some ideas, some processes, concepts, and even thoughts with you. So this week, told Cheryl, hey, come up with a good topic for this week. So this is what she said. We need to talk about keeping your focus on the goal. And I said, that's a really great one because it's so hard to do that. Because as a manager, as an owner, you are tugged and pulled in so many different directions. It is unreal. I know I sent one of my clients yesterday, sent him a text, hey, bud, how's it going? How things going? And he sends me back a graphic of somebody sitting with fire all surrounding him, simulating the firefighting he's going through each and every day. So, how do you keep your eyes on the goal? Because that's what you got to do. Because I can tell you, running a business is hard work. It is truly hard work, and it's really tough to keep your focus into it. But it's also telling you something when you're spending all your time firefighting. So Cheryl, I'm gonna go to you first here. This was your topic, one that you came up with. So what's your thoughts on how do you keep your focus on the goal?
First, I think a lot of business owners do menial stuff a lot of times that they could delegate out so they could run their business. But if it's a true goal, for me, you put it in writing, keep it in front of you, keep your mind on it. Yeah, you're putting out fires, but that's going to happen forever. Is it a fire somebody else can put out, or is it something you have to do? So many times the business owner takes his job on, plus he tries to take some of his employees' problems off of it, and it just you can't get where you're going. But I mean, the thing about it is then eventually your goal just becomes a dream, and then it becomes a nightmare, and then you just drop it and you never get where you're going. So you've got to figure out what that goal is, and goals can change. I want to get that out there. I've seen people say so much, I was trying to get to the goal that I wanted to get to, that I wanted to get to earlier, that I never got to the one that I wanted to do now. Goals can change, but make them change in the right direction.
So Josh, what about you? I know in my experiences, there's been times that we'll just say your passion just overrode your good judgment. The frustrations went off like like a powder keg. So what's your advice to people of how do you maintain the focus on the goals that you got there?
The things that I liked, that especially for, let's just say, financial goal setting, was having an office person, accountant, manager, whatever, especially if you had financial goals, they would help you like post and track those goals, right? Because that takes time to pull reports, things like that, review them, things like that. So that way they can post, hey, where everybody's at. If that's a daily, a weekly task, they can handle a lot of that office time, because that's the stuff. Repetitive tasks for me, they grind me into the ground. Especially something like that. It's not mission critical, but it's great for tracking, things like that. A warehouse guy, you can three of the easiest positions you're going to be able to fill is a warehouse guy, an office manager slash book accountant, and maybe someone to do your purchasing, things like that. Those are going to be some of the office positions like that. Or Cheryl, those are probably the easiest ones to fill.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are tons and tons and tons of people. That's how I got started writing the wiki site, was because I was hiring a new CSR in the winter, and that's one of the reasons, because that was like the easiest way for me to train somebody up, was to have this wiki site. But those roles like that, the owner should be involved in troubleshooting situations, and then I like to do the triage from it. What caused it? And then how do we fix it? And those are the things. And then what if you do these triage reports from when installs go bad, then you can start doing things like I've got one we're working on now with field rescues. Field rescues are a pain in the ass. Everyone hates them, right, Jerry?
That's exactly right. It's a big waste factor.
Huge waste factor. But we came up with a almost like a stupid simple app. It's in Google Forms, but it's something you can put on the phone, and you can just, all I need is four things in there. Who's the technician, and what's the job number, and what part are we running out there? And now I can go back and look at who sold the job. We can look at, did they take all their pictures? Did they do all the things that we asked? And those were, I mean, just doing those triages, then it gives you a way to kind of just start collecting data. And like I said, I love Google Forms for data collection like that, because you can make a simple 4 or 5 question thing that you keep on the phone. I just hit a button and away you go.
Yeah. And you're lucky here. We have one of our old co-hosts listening in out there in Kansas City today. Hey, Brandy, appreciate you being here with us today. Love to have you back on one day when you got the time. But I know you're busy with your school and your testing and all that. So good luck on your final exam that you're going up for. So anyway, here's an idea for you to think about. Because, Cheryl, do you think these are frustrations?
Oh, they're huge frustrations.
They're huge frustrations. So this is a process that you can employ that may help you get to the bottom of this, okay? Because I can tell you, just this week, I've heard of a local cafeteria chain that's been in business over 80 years. They just closed down. Then earlier today, I saw where a local winery, been in business about 20 years. They're shutting down in a couple weeks. And I also know of service businesses. They are just so fed up with the frustrations that they're just decided it's time to just shut it down. It's really amazing when you see this is going on. And we're seeing it more and more. Yeah, it's great. Some people can sell a business. They get private equity come in or whatever. But a lot of people are just up against the wall and they're fed up. They don't want to go through the challenges or whatever it is. So here's my idea. Get you a spiral-bound notebook, and keep it with you every day for 2 weeks. And every time that you have a frustration, write down what that frustration is. And then at the end of 2 weeks, look at that. How often is the same frustration the one that's driving you crazy? And then you got to come up with a resolution. Is it your people? Does somebody need to just go away? Just go away. Does there need to be new systems employed? Josh was just talking about field rescues. Well, field rescues are because the system is failing. You're not getting the materials to the job site right. Agreed, Josh?
100%. Not lack of preparedness.
Right. Or it could be that the salesperson did not scope the job out properly. And the technicians get there, now they can't do the job properly. In fact, I talked to another client yesterday, and this is a big frustration. The sales team is selling something, but they're not documenting what needs to be done properly. So now we've got the repair crew going there, the install crew to do it, and chaos has ensued. And now we have a major argument, excuse me, going on among the workforce. But here's, you got to do something to take action. You really, really do. And it's for your own personal sanity. Josh, here's somebody that has made a comment here, said, I would love to examine your triage Google Forms. See that? Well, Hank, what I'm going to suggest you do is reach out to Mr. Josh. You can reach him at josh@cvcsuccessgroup.com. And Josh, help this guy out, okay?
Yeah, you'll see it's a stupid, simple form.
It really, really is. It's stupid simple. But the frustration book is one that's going to help you narrow down and stop just simply pulling your hair out. You've got to take action. You've got to take action, not just react to the same problem over and over. You've got to come up with, how are you going to take action to where these problems don't continue coming up? Because often when you start doing this frustration book, you're going to see that there may be 10, 12, 14 items that continuously bug you. So Cheryl, back to you. What else would you add into this?
Josh is wanting to say something. Let him go ahead.
Go ahead, Josh.
You know, we carry these things in our pockets, Jerry, and they have the ability to take notes on them. You don't have to. I couldn't even tell you where to buy a spiral bound notebook, Jerry.
Okay. You couldn't tell where. Well, Josh, I hate to tell you this, my friend, but digital doesn't work for everybody. And sometimes a good old pen and a piece of paper will work great. Okay. I don't know. For some reason, we survived before Google Drive came in existence. Okay.
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah. And a lot of people are having trouble with Google Drive themselves because they don't have the internet when they need it.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, you look at it. In fact, that's all people have their PowerPoint programs on Google Drive and go to a hotel to do a presentation. They got no internet service. So guess what? They got no program there. Okay.
Got no gas.
So anyway, you know, you're a Google freak. That's you. But hey, you got to do something that works. So hey, however you want to do it. So Cheryl, before Josh came up with this off the wall idea he had about we do everything on our phone, you got anything worthwhile to add to this conversation?
No, my thing is, people have just got to realize the world is what it is, and what's going on is going to go on unless you put a stop to it. And a lot of times it's as simple as maybe some additional training for a person. Maybe somebody doesn't know that he's screwing up that bad. A lot of times the only time they find out they really screwed up is in the morning meeting.
Yeah.
So I think you have to be a lot more transparent with your people, and with not just at work, but in your personal life with people around you. You have to understand what they're thinking, and a lot of times they need to understand what you're thinking. And I think it would get you back on what you need to do. You wouldn't have to deal so much with what everybody else is doing.
Yep, that's it. Josh, what else you got to add? And I'm gonna ring your chimes because you're supposed to have your email address on that name card right there in front of you, where that man would have had your email address. You know that, right?
I know. It's on my laptop.
Well, guess what? You're not on your laptop, okay?
No, I meant about the chiropractor. Well, while it's snowing, if that tells you anything.
I just had to ring your chimes over what your frustrations are. See, I'm getting one of my frustrations out right there.
Yeah. So, I mean, Cheryl said a great one. Finding out in the morning meeting you're screwing up is probably not the best place. And the other thing is, like, you know, our emotions tend to get the best of us. So that was one of the things I did with my Google Forms or what have you, was I would, like, if I was, like, let's just say I audit a job, right? What are my 10 points that I'm auditing a job in service technician? Did they take all their photos? Did they prepare estimates? Did they go over the estimates there? You know, then you can build patterns that way. That was one of the things I like, because Google Forms can then dump into Google Sheets, and then you can start graphing and things like that. So then you can say met metric, not met metric, things like that. So that's why I really liked doing that. And then it takes the emotions out of it, because, you know, a lot of times, you know, we're human beings. I don't like being emotional when I talk about this stuff, but usually by then, as you said before, Jerry, I have a jackass button. It used to be pretty legendary. It's much smaller these days, and you know, you got to take the emotion of it, and then having metrics and tracking, you know, makes it so, you know, they know you're watching what you're, and what, you know, and then what are you expecting?
Yep. So it's up to you. If you want to go through every single day and fight fires, hey, that's your choice. Just continue ravishing and relishing in that pain you're going through. But if you really want to make it easy, you got to take the action you need to. Sometimes you got to make changes in the business to get it under control. Josh said a real good thing. Giving implementers, people to delegate to, that's going to help you a lot in doing that. Finding the right people can be critical. Finding a good implementer to work with you, if you're a visionary, that can definitely be a way to go. So anyway, I hope this is giving you some ideas today, because you set your goals. It's up to you to stay on the path, to stay the course, to get there on the journey that you're on. You're riding, you got to have your GPS out. You're going to run into roadblocks sometimes. You're going to have to detour around. I remember coming home off a trip this week, and all of a sudden I looked on my GPS, and guess what? There's a big backup on I-95. Well, hey, what's your choices? Just prepare for it and sit down. But I also know before I left, I checked the directions, which was the best way to go for my destination, and then decided to throw up a roadblock in the middle of it. Was it frustrating? Yeah, but I just took it in stride. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful to you this week. Appreciate you joining us as always. It's an honor, it's a privilege, and it's a pleasure. And tune us in every week here, 12 noon Eastern time. If you're watching this replay, hey, we appreciate you being there for us. Let us know how we can help you make this journey to your business dreams. Have a fantastic weekend ahead, and it's going to be a cold one out there for sure. Talk to you later.